I don't know if it's even. God, I get so sick of this. I can't get it. I can't even get it to save the details of the damn video. You know what's messed up is you don't succeed because of YouTube. You succeed despite YouTube. It's the same thing with anything else. You don't succeed because of the government's help. You succeed despite the government's help because they never were out to help you in the first place. This YouTube app is such shit and garbage for broadcasters. There's got to be an alternative. There's got to be a better way. It defaults everything to settings, and I know that I had changed that orientation. It showed that I had changed the orientation, yet when I started, it still insisted on upright, and I won't do it in upright. I won't. I have railed against anyone who broadcasts in upright, and so there's no way in hell I would ever do it. It drives me nuts. Anybody that puts out anything in upright, I don't watch it. I don't watch shorts. I don't watch anything. I cannot stand being in a conversation and you can't see everybody that's talking. It's ridiculous. I swear that whoever thought of upright format, it's literally the lazy man's format. It's the lazy format. It's the format for people who never bought the thing to hold their phone properly, and they don't feel like holding it like this. So they hold it like this. It's easy. I don't care if my audience doesn't get to see most of the world and they only get to see this narrow view of what's going on out there. Anyway. Yeah. We just watched the movie, another Tom Hanks movie we found today called Terminal. And yeah, it was okay. Wasn't a great movie. It was okay. I'm looking for Greyhound. That is a great movie. I'm looking for that because my mom hasn't seen it yet. So we're still looking for that one. Went to a bunch of thrift stores today. We love doing that. Anyway, for those just joining us, this is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name's Ian. I don't expect a very big crowd tonight. The numbers have been dwindling all week. And it's all I can do. We've lost so many subscribers over the last week. We're down 160 off of our peak about 2 weeks ago. I guess YouTube's doing a purge, or maybe people don't like me anymore. I don't know. But we are losing subscribers at an alarming rate. So I don't know what we need to do to ebb that or what, but it's not good. Oh, you getting some weather there? Yeah, there is an area that they are watching. Anyway. I'm exhausted. I got the car fixed today. We had the CV joint had to get fixed in it. We went to Blue Ridge. We ate at a really cool restaurant there that we like. And my burger came with fries, which is amazing to me. And this is what gets me. This restaurant, instead of a $16 burger with no fries, it was a $13 burger that comes with fries, and it was really, really good. I'm a connoisseur of good hamburgers, but I have some prerequisites. I don't need a salad on my burger. I always have them hold lettuce, tomato, and onion, save it for someone else. And I like my burgers medium rare, black and blue if I can get it, but medium rare. I like the inside to still be a little red in the middle. And I like the outside to be cooked. Hey, Victor. Yeah. Yeah, burgers are good. The thing with me with burgers is if I have to, I'll eat a McDonald's or a Burger King burger or a Wendy's burger, a Dairy Queen burger. I'll eat any of those in a pinch. They're okay. I always get the quarter pounder because it's the one that has the never frozen beef. The Flame Broiled Whopper is pretty good. But the truth is, I really prefer a restaurant burger, something that's made that's a lot nicer. Um, this one had bacon. Oh, by the way, this one had bacon. The other one didn't. So for $16, I got no fries and no bacon. And today for $13, I got fries and 2 strips of bacon on top. So, um, yeah. Um, yeah, the app tends to want to. The first thing I set is orientation. And this app twice now has set the orientation back. YouTube really wants everything in upright, and I can't figure it out. People are not hanging their TVs on their wall in that format. Upright format is only for lazy broadcasters, and it's never going to become popular with the people that actually watch. And so it's a losing deal. I really do. I think the best thing that they can do is just stop pushing it. Um, this is the way our eyes see right here. And when you're standing there and there's 5 people talking and they're holding the phone, all you can see is the middle 2 people and all the sky and their feet at the ground. But you can't see the other people in the conversation. It's just terrible. I can't believe anybody would want to broadcast upright like that, because I damn sure know nobody wants to watch it like that. Um, yeah, a lot of people hate it. That's why I can't understand why it's still popular. It's just laziness. It's laziness because they want to hold the phone like this instead of holding it like this. It's simply laziness. Well, when the extra wide, I mean, all extra wide does is cut off some of the other part of the screen. The best format is this format here. It fits the screen perfectly, and it works. I don't know why we're trying to reinvent a wheel that's not flat or broken. It just doesn't take. It doesn't take it. Well, I would think that, except when I make videos, if I make them in upright, it's the exact same dimensions upright. So I don't know that it is exactly less bandwidth. I don't think it is. At least the ones when I make something in upright, it's the same bandwidth as if I make it like this, because it's the same dimensions, 1920 by whatever. It's the same dimensions. So that's why I said I don't know what the deal is there. All right, guys, be right back in just a second. What you doing? I know that was a great movie, but it wasn't terrible. I know what was because I don't think you're like hearing things. Mom's heading to bed. She wasn't much on that movie. Terminal. Steven Spielberg, Tom Hanks. It was okay. It was kind of a neat movie. But it certainly wasn't like one of my Tom Hanks movies that I really like that. So, yeah, I haven't watched the movie Skeeters yet. Oh, well, I can see the chat comes up on my screen, but it disappears before I can even read it. That's the problem. And again, tonight, I don't even think it's coming up on the screen at all. No, it's not. I've got it up over on my laptop over here, so I can at least see the screen. Yeah, it's not coming up at all on the screen. Yeah, deploribus, I was going to talk about that just a little bit. Also, I want to mention that the Republicans are screwing up when it comes to the SAVE Act. The Democrats were able to defeat another vote today on the SAVE Act because not all the Republicans are on board, and this really sucks. And then, yeah, the Virginia thing was bad news, but the good news is we still have a fighting chance here. It looks like they didn't follow their constitution properly. Hey, Heath, what's up? Oh, wow. Kevin's really got it coming down. Yeah. It's starting to get a little chilly out here, and the bugs are starting to get bad. All right, so let's take a look here. A couple things I'm gonna talk about a few different things tonight. I did want to mention that SAVE Act. We have to make sure that this gets passed, especially considering we may end up giving up seats because of all this redistricting. We have to make sure the SAVE Act passes, because the only way to make this work is to stop the fraud, stop the dead people from voting, and stop a lot of this fraud that's going on. Oh, there's another story here. If I can get it to come up. An object about the size of a football field was seen by some folks. This is from Representative Tim Burchett. He's a Tennessee congressman, and he has been talking about the fact that he's been briefed about all these UAPs and UFOs. He's been briefed about these encounters and stuff, and he's convinced that these are UFOs, and that these are aliens of some kind. And he said he's just seen too much. In a Tuesday interview, he said he believes aliens exist outright, citing government briefings, pilot testimony, and what he describes as video and photographic evidence shown to him by officials. We've seen too much. We've seen too much, Burchett says. Pierce Morgan, uncensored, on the show he was on. Not myself personally, but when I've been briefed by government officials, video, pictures, some of the best trained pilots in the world have described having close collisions with some sort of aircraft or apparatus. And so I think it's time that the government comes clean. Burchett made these remarks after host Pierce Morgan pressed him directly on whether he believes in this extraterrestrial life. And Burchett said his belief was shaped in part by his religious interpretation, pointing to biblical passages as possible descriptions of advanced technology. Genesis 1, chapter 1, God created the heavens and earth. You look at the book of Ezekiel. Ezekiel saw the wheel, and it described the wheel within a wheel with some sort of landing craft. Morgan expressed skepticism about whether any claims rise to the level of verifiable proof, even as he acknowledged the vastness of the universe. God, I hate when it does that. It has to autoplay that ad. We got to autoplay that ad. Even though I'm in limited bandwidth. He says, I've not seen any crap personally myself, but with all these reports, I have to question why any pilot, some of the best in the world, would risk their reputations coming forward and telling me this stuff unless it was truly important and absolutely real. Richard also described a report encountering relayed to him by a former Navy serviceman involved in a large silent object. This craft flew over them, and then it took off without any noise and any disturbance around. The descriptions they gave were very vivid and very similar. He described sonar detections of large, fast-moving objects and suggested the ocean could be the location where this unknown phenomenon are based. And yes, it is. We can see space. If you put something in space, you have to put it behind the moon. You have to cloak it. You have to somehow prevent all of our electromagnetic sensing equipment and all of our visual detection equipment from seeing it. If you put it in the ocean, we're never going to see it. We don't explore the oceans that much. But you realize we know a lot more about space than we do know about the ocean when it comes to the close in. And that's because we're talking miles down. And if they're able to warp gravity and space so that they can travel faster than the speed of light, so that they can accelerate from 0 to 1,000 miles an hour in 1 second, the only way they can do that is to control gravity and inertia. Okay. And once you control gravity and inertia, it's nothing to keep out ocean pressure. It would be nothing to exert a small amount of energy to protect them from the crushing pressure of the ocean. And they can now have a base underwater that we would never see. And it's a lot easier to cloak under there. It's a lot easier to prevent detection by different means under the water. So yes, I do believe that under the water is where they're basing their operations. Everybody always used to say, oh, it's on the moon or it's on Mars. No, none of that makes any sense. None of that makes sense. If it's on this side of the moon, we're going to see it. If it's on that side of the moon, they can't see us. Look at the time it takes to travel back and forth. They could do all their research right from the oceans. They could travel in the ocean until they needed to come up for some reason to go and observe or detect or whatever they're doing. Do they travel into space? Absolutely. That's where they come from, I think. But they use the oceans as their base. There's 5 areas. We have a lot of sightings in the air over those areas. Some as big as a football field have been seen traced on our sonar that went over 200 miles an hour. That is something the size of a football field that they're watching accelerating up to very fast speeds, up to 200 miles an hour. As soon as they see something like this and report it, they're pulled off the line. They're given a psych eval. And there's a lot of factions within the military that try to ground them. They don't want them out there no more. He suggests that the federal government is withholding information about unidentified aerial phenomenon and criticized what he describes as a lack of transparency. I feel like this is something that's being held back for whatever reason. I have no faith in our federal government in them releasing this stuff. Morgan pointed to the possible shock and uncertainty that could follow such a disclosure. And see, I don't feel that. No matter what we learn about these UAPs, the general public doesn't seem to give a shit. It's not the government's job to decide what we as a people can handle and not handle. And I agree with that. That's absolutely true. All right. So that was that one that I wanted to mention to you guys, because that situation, the government's talking about it now. They know it's real. They know that this stuff's happening. There's an intelligence out there that has spacecraft that are 100 ahead of us technologically. It is not the Chinese, and it's not us. Well, I had two more here, but I don't see them now. Alien Omar has gone off the deep end. Here's this woman that she claimed a few years ago that she had like $50,000 to her name. And then all of a sudden she has 90 million. And then all of a sudden now she's back to like 150,000. And then when they ask her about it, she fucking freaks out and rips their head off, the media. Like, what are you doing? You know, this woman's nuts. I cannot believe that she ripped their head off like that. I'll be right back. Okay. Mom is in bed. Let's see what this looks like. See what the I'm on 40 meters tonight. If anybody out there is up on 40 meters, try to call me. There's not a lot of parking spaces. Let me tell you guys what I'm doing on QRZ. Okay. QRZ has the thing going on right now, and it's called the what's it called here? It's under awards. I've got a bunch of their awards, but this is the latest one. It is the 250th anniversary of the United States of America award. And how you get this award, from the best I can tell, is you're going to make 250 United States contacts between whatever date it started in July 4th. And so I started on it about a month ago. I got some of them, and I've been kind of working on it. Well, I've been working on it the last couple evenings, 3 evenings now. I was up in the middle of the night, couldn't sleep, so I hooked it up for an hour and just sat out here and made a bunch of contacts. I've got 178 out of 250, so I'm at 71% right now. And I just got another one. So, and I'm trying to see if I can get as many of these as I can get. Who are we seeing tonight? Let's see. Puerto Rico, Argentina. My hill, I've got a big hill north of me, and I got a big hill west of me, which means that my big wire right here behind me that you see behind me, this big wire antenna is backed up to a mountain on two sides. And then I'm projecting a lot more energy south and east which is like towards South America and Africa, than I am directing it towards the north, which is, most of the states and Canada. So it's kind of weird. That gives me kind of a bizarre dynamic here that I have to deal with. There's Virginia. Let's see if we can get Virginia. I converted my hunter log today and it worked again. I don't know why it's not working for some other people, but I'm working on recompiling that program. I want to make it available, and I want everybody to help me get the word out that we've got something that works once we get it working. But it made mine today. It made it into an ADF file, and I loaded it right onto QRZ, and it seemed to have worked for me. So I'm not sure. KQ4ZCH is not answering. Anyway, all right, so that's fine. Let's look at this. The solar conditions tonight. Solar conditions have been kind of shitty the last 3 or 4 days. But tonight they're a little bit better. 40 and 80 are wide open tonight, but also all the way up to 15 is showing good tonight. So, you might be able to make something on one of those other bands. I'm on 40 right now. 40 seems to be running okay. It seems to be running up to about 1,500 miles, and that's it. I don't see anything out beyond 1,500 miles. All right, and I'm making contact with KQ4ZCH in Virginia. You can't hear me for some reason. I got an amazingly high noise floor. I don't know why. All my antennas here on my property, just like at home, they all have an amazingly high noise floor. Now, when I drive out in the middle of nowhere, they're fine. The car ones are okay, but I don't know. It kind of sucks. All right, I got Virginia. So I want to get this latest award locked down and get it done. I missed the 25 days of Christmas last year. I got it this year. I missed it last year. If you're not a member of QRZ and you've got a call sign, go claim your page. Go ahead and put your bio on there. It's how everybody's finding everybody now. And it's also great for your logbook. You can use it to keep your logbook, or at least keep a copy of your logbook for you. Oops, someone's calling me. Who the hell is this? WB4 Ham. He called me out of the blue, so I'll answer him back. I wish I could show the screen to you, but broadcasting on my phone. Oh, well. So tomorrow we're going to go do some thrifting. We're going to just take a little short day tomorrow. Spending some time here. I got a couple projects I want to finish up now that I'm feeling a little bit better. We are leaving Sunday morning pre-dawn and heading to Tallahassee. And then once there, I'll do the night show in Tallahassee that night from a hotel Sunday night. So if the internet's good, we can do a little more of a normal show. And then Monday night, I should be back in my studio. I return to my regular job on Tuesday. There's another one. I'm filtering now because there's a lot of people on here. So I'm choosing to filter by USA. I'm looking for only USA stations. Let's see how this goes. It's not that I don't want other stations. I actually like the X stations. The further away, the better. But I'm trying to pop this award out real quick in the next day or two. I think I can get this award knocked out before I leave up here. I got over 27,000 contacts. I think 21,000 of them are confirmed. I've been making contacts for 6 years now. It's a neat thing about ham radio. You keep a log of all the people you spoke to. And here's another one. NV1U, Oregon. That's over on the left coast. So he's broadcasting from behind enemy lines. All right. So let's just keep that going for a second here while I go back over here. All right, I don't see anything there. Let's go over here. All right, the sun is starting to become active again after weeks of quiet. The sun is waking up again. The action began during the early hours of this morning with a double M1 class solar flare. You can see the movie at spaceweather.com. They've got a video of it. It was a sympathetic flare caused by magnetic teleconnections between two widely spaced sunspots. These sunspots have since produced additional M flares, including an M4 and an M5 category event. The double flare launched an CME into space, captured by the Shoho coronagraph. Saw that the output came off the sun. It was not a halo. It's all moving mostly in one or two directions, which means a lot of it mostly is not Earth directed. But you can check out that short clip there on spaceweather.com. That comet's going to be moving to where it's going to be about its brightest point here coming up. And so we're going to be talking about that. But the comet will move between the sun and the Earth at one point. So that's going to be cool. This CME will produce a glancing blow. We could see this on the 26th. So probably on Sunday we could be looking at that. All right. Attempting contact here with K0GDI. He's out of Missouri. All right. Tonight, the severe weather threat for tonight is northern Oklahoma and eastern Kansas. We do have a 3-4 tornado warnings on the board, and a bunch of storm chasers out too. I wish I could cover this tonight. I really do. crazy storm system. I got 6 storm chasers just on one storm alone. Crazy weather night. Another nader. Kansas City is getting it right now. It's coming right through Kansas City. North of that, just north of Liberty, we've got a potential tornado right now. Let me pull this up. Yeah, we've got a potential tornado here just north of Liberty, north of Kansas City. Moving east-northeast. Kansas City just had a major storm system move through there. All right, let me go check the chat. All right. Bandit, DX Bandit. Wow. I haven't gotten that through here yet, but wow, that's a big one. An X2.4. That's huge. Yeah, the live chat is not showing up on my screen. So I have to literally go back to that screen over here on the side. Yep, we should have Mama Bleep on Monday. Dispatch, I miss a lot of things about not having my studio, but it's all I can do. That's why I eventually want to build a vehicle that has everything already built in and working in it. I'm literally working on the internet on my phone. It's terrible, but there's nothing I can do about it. It is what it is. I much prefer when everything's working properly and I can see the chat room and all that kind of good stuff. Okay, dispatch. You got a person, well-established channel, willing to be a guest in a couple weeks. Okay, I would love to do it. Let's set it up. We will set it up. We can simulcast both channels. He can do it on here and excerpt it there. However he wants to do it. I'm amiable to whatever. We are going to start doing more guests. I've got the capability. It's just I don't spend all day calling and booking. You know, it's one of those things. But if you guys get somebody like this that can come on, absolutely, let's do it. Yeah, I'm in Blairsville, Georgia, and we have absolutely clear skies here as well. Sometimes on FT8, when you transmit over and over and over, what'll happen is somebody will end up being on your frequency and they transmit right over the top of you. And so suddenly you're still doing your thing, but nobody's answering you. It's because you're being blocked every single transmission. I hate that. Which the only way to beat it is to stop it. Stop it and take a look at the landscape, and then go back and pick a parking spot and go again. Man, I love FT8. Normally, I would always go for the DX stations, but not tonight. I'm trying to get that 250 award, so I'm only going for USA stations tonight. I got a few earlier. I got some Brazil, some Argentina earlier, I think. Dominican Republic, I think, earlier. But for the most part, I'm just trying to get USA stations right now. Well, that's awesome, Dispatch. I'm glad to hear it. Old man builds. Got it. I'm going to put that in a tab right now so I have it. All right. Got it. And there's his channel right there, Old Man Bill. Cool. All right, let's do it. Yeah, that whole 0 point energy thing is interesting. It was something they used on Stargate a lot, was 0 point energy. And I know it's a TV show, but on the TV show, what they did was they were pulling the energy from subspace, or pulling it. This device that was made by the ancients would actually pull the energy from subspace or from an alternate dimension, and then making it our energy and using it on this side. Now, I know that we're talking about a more practical method here, but I think it is possible to find other sources of energy that are less conventional. We're used to 1 gallon of fuel makes so many horsepower, but I think there's other less conventional methods. The very first one that comes to mind is Brown's gas and hydrogen. They're running trucks in hydrogen over in Japan right now. Hydrogen trucks, hydro trucks on the road. This technology, if we would have put all our energy into it 20 years ago, we'd all be driving hydrogen vehicles right now. But the point is you've got the entire fuel industry that would be against something like that. You've got the automotive industry that would be against something like that. You can just see where it would be very hard to get that to work in this country. And that's why we've got other countries that literally have hydrogen powered 18 wheelers on the highway right now. And we don't. And that's because of our bullshit here. Both corporate restrictions, corporations fighting against things because they don't want to lose their grip on what they've got. And of course, the government regulating things that they know not about, and doing it piss poorly, by the way. That's why we're so far behind on this. We need to get out ahead of hydrogen. Hydrogen's the future. We should be running big plants on hydrogen. We should be running everything on these data centers they're wanting to build. We need to run them on hydrogen. Or micronuclear. I'm fine with that too, but we need to get it off. I would like to get off of fossil fuels. It doesn't make me a liberal. I mean, let's face it. Let's get off fossil fuels. If we can get 20 or 30% of what we do off of fossil fuels, then the fossil fuels we have will be cheaper for everybody. It just makes sense. It makes economical sense to find other methods to create cheaper power. I don't think solar panels are it, and I don't think windmills are it. Both of those are not doing so well after 20 years, actually. The first wind farms are starting to come down, and they took a loss. They didn't make a penny. And we've got solar farms here they tear down the woods, they put up a solar farm, and within the first year, a hailstorm hits and takes out everything. I mean, but you don't hear about it. The news doesn't cover it. So I mean, we've got to work on alternate fuels. We got to work on better fuels. I think zero port energy is definitely one of them. And I also believe hydrogen is the next one, the first one that we need to be looking at. De-expanded, I am using my FT710 Yaesu. It's a good radio. I like it. I paid $1,200 for it, bought it brand new. And like everything I buy, it doesn't work. It works. I don't like to send things back, so I just deal with it. My rig control doesn't work. I'm using it on Vox. It's unfortunate. I do like Yaesu. I do like their products. And I do like FT8 and all that. I like it. The problem is this radio, the rig control doesn't work. We've tried it with 5 different computers. The moment that you start WSJTX up, the rig control goes out. I've contacted Yaesu and they can't fix it. I've contacted HRD, who I bought it from, HRO, I mean, and they can't help. There's nothing they can do about it. I can box it up and ship it in, and they'll charge me to fix it. You know how it is. So I've decided to live with it. So I bought a $1,200 radio that has no rig control. Isn't that awesome? So I was going to do a review video on it, but if I did a review video on it now, it probably would not be very positive because I spent $1,200 and I have no rig control. Yeah, HRO is fine. I don't have anything negative to say about them. I have not heard of Galen Windsor, no. Solar is great for small projects, but on any scale, it provides a lot of problems. That's true. Solar is great for temporary use. You're setting up an operation out in the middle of a field. You're doing remote operation, stuff like that. Where solar fails is where it has to be used for long periods of time. Because what ended up happening, these panels only last a few years in the sun, and they're failing. So, but anyway, yeah, that's it. FT710. Other than the rig control not working, I think it's an amazing radio. You know what I think the most useless function on an HF radio is? The dual VFO. See, on my VHF radios, I love the dual. I love it because I can monitor 2 channels at one time. But on HF, I find it to be completely useless. I don't even know why it's there. I've never used it. It gets turned on. I have to figure out how to get rid of it. I wish it wouldn't take up all my screen space. I would like it to just go away altogether. I don't need 2 receivers. I just need 1. When I'm doing HF, I'm doing HF. I can't do 2 things at once. If it would put out the second VFO as a second audio out, but it doesn't do that. It mixes them both into the speaker, which makes it useless. So I don't really understand the dual VFO on the HF. I just don't get it. Yeah, the reviews on these 710s are really good. And apparently not all that many people have the same problem I have, because I have found some people that have it, but it's not all that common. So I would recommend the 710 but with the caveat that I did have one problem with it. The other thing is the speaker doesn't connect to the side of the radio, and that's bullshit. It's such a pain in the ass to carry this thing around because the speaker is always flopping around, the wires all pulling out. And when I talked to the Yaesu guy, his speaker was connected to the side of his 710. And I asked the guy, I said, why can't I connect my speaker to my 710? And he says, you can. And I said, well, how do I do that? And he says, the hardware came with your radio. I'm like, no, it didn't. I got no hardware with my radio for this. And he argued with me. So now I'm pissed because everybody else apparently got this piece of equipment that I didn't get that connects your speaker to the side of your radio. I hate the fact that it's a separate speaker. I wish they would just make the radio a little bigger and put a decent speaker in it instead of the one that's in the radio is kind of a cheap speaker. And then they give you this really nice speaker that flops around next to it for the rest of its life, until you finally get sick of it and quit hooking it up. I don't know. Yes. Yeah. Micronuclear. They're working on it right now. They've already implemented some of these things. They're really small, but they produce an amazing amount of power considering how small they are. Well, there you go, Incognita. That's you're doing good. Yep. So now I'm trying to find these little parts that hook my speaker to my radio. I don't even know what they look like. I assume they screw into the radio and then the speaker hooks on somehow. There is like rubber grommets on the side that I assume come out or something. Yep. I don't have good luck buying stuff. Anytime I buy anything, it's never perfect. There's always something wrong with it. Everything I've ever bought, something wrong with it. I keep it. I don't return things because I'll just get another one that will have more problems. Yeah. It sucks because the whole reason I bought it was the rig control. I wanted something that would USB to my computer and I wouldn't have to worry about it. I guess I've got that. It does USB into my computer for the sound, but it doesn't do rig control. I set everything for rig control and it just sits there. It acts like it's not connected. It's ridiculous. It's really stupid to spend $1,200 on something and it doesn't work. Yeah, with that speaker on the side, I'm thinking about just getting duct tape and just duct taping it on. I'm sick of it. JB Well, that's right. It sucks because you're supposed to be able to put it on either side. The wire's just long enough that it can be on either side. But again, it would have to have two pieces of hardware that did not come with my radio. There must be two things that screw in the side, and then the speaker must somehow slide onto that. No, my OCD hates the external speaker because, like, tomorrow I'm going to put it back in the car in the morning, and this speaker, I've got to have it hooked up when I put it up on the dashboard, which means it's literally hanging around in the way the whole time I'm hooking my radio up. And it's always falling down and flopping around everywhere. And I'm surprised the wire hasn't quit working, to be honest. It's stupid. You guys wondering why that light keeps going on and off? Yeah, it's because I'm transmitting. Anytime I transmit, that light goes on and off. I've got an ICOM 756 Pro 2 at home with the big screen in the middle. No waterfall. It's the only bad thing about it. But other than that, it's a great radio. And I've never been able to get the rig control working on that either. As a matter of fact, that one I have to use a signal link box and Vox on that one as well. Just this one, I can use the USB audio, and I can just put that on Vox so that when I send audio towards the radio transmits. The bad news, when I change frequencies on the program, I have to change frequencies on the radio. I constantly have to make sure that the two frequencies match. It really sucks too to spend $1,200 on a radio that you know they only spent $200 to make. The markup on this HF equipment is fantastic. It's hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of percent markup. See, back then, back in the old days, you would spend $2,000 on a radio, and you'd be getting a radio that has $2,000 worth of parts in it. It's not like that anymore. The folks over in Japan are making this radio for under $200 and shipping it over here. So there's no reason to still be charging $1,200 other than they can, and they do. Old Man Builds. Well, welcome in. Glad you're here. Appreciate you coming in. There you go. Yeah, my 756 Pro from ICOM was my first rig. It's a dual silent key. I'm the third one to own it, and I'll keep it till I die, and somebody else can have it. It's a good radio. It's a brick. It's a boat anchor. It's huge. It's freaking like a cabinet. The old Collins S line. Yep, I've seen those. Yep, there's such great radios out there. For those that are just joining us tonight, this is the Sights and Sounds of Earth. My name's Ian, live in the North Georgia mountains on vacation. Normally, we have a multi-screen format. Normally, we're covering all sorts of science and news, and we're doing it from a format where you guys can see what's going on in the world while I'm talking. I also normally would have live radar, live flight tracker. We would have all the different live scanner feeds. We'd be tracking the tornadoes right now in Kansas and Oklahoma. We'd be doing a lot right now, but I can't. Why? Because I have no internet up here. There is no internet on the mountain. And so all I have is one bar on my cell, and that's what I'm using right now. And I'm splitting that signal so I can pull up stuff on my laptop. So that's why if your resolution gets crappy every so often, it's because I'm probably looking something up over on the laptop. It's pretty stupid, really, but this is how you got to do it. If you tether, they only give you so much tether. And the problem is when you tether, you lose a lot of your bandwidth. Why? Because the phone is using its Wi-Fi, which means you have two different radio transmitters working in the same phone. And when you do that, you lose a lot of the phone's ability to talk to the tower or to receive from the tower, actually. And so what that ends up doing is it reduces my bandwidth even more. The best thing I can do is I have the phone plugged in here and put on a tripod, on a bracket, on a tripod. Below it is a 100 amp hour battery. It's about this big. and it powers everything on the tripod. So it's completely mobile. But here's the thing. Because the battery does not put out dirty energy. Most of the time when you're charging your phone, do you know if you're in a really weak cell area and you plug your phone in to charge, you'll actually lose some of your speed. Why? Because of the dirty power coming in. Believe it or not, the dirty power coming in. So by using a battery on the phone, I don't lose any of that. I can charge the phone to 100%, keep it at 100%, and not suffer the loss that you get from all that dirty energy that's coming in from these crappy transformers and the power line and everything else. I run almost everything on battery when I'm on. Right now, I've got 3 different batteries out here. The computer and the radio are running off shore power. Pretty much everything else out here, including all of my studio lighting and everything, running off batteries. I've got a number of these different battery packs. This is this one works great. It'll power up to 4 of my studio lights, and it will power them for 4 or 5 hours before they start going dim. This also will charge phones, do anything else. It looks like a bomb off Bugs Bunny show or something. But this is a great battery. I bought this for $22, I think, and it's been an amazing battery. And then the big one here, I can't really get it off. It's just too big. It's really big though, and it powers everything. I charged it last night to 100%. Been using it all day. It's at 88% right now. So by using that, you can get more energy out of your phone. And by not using the phone's Wi-Fi, see, I'm using the internet on the phone, but I have the Wi-Fi turned off. Okay. When the Wi-Fi is turned on, that will bring your signal strength down even more. So I've got my mother's phone tethered for my computer right now. So that way this phone can do nothing but this broadcast. It's a pain in the ass. I'm hoping soon to be able to get internet up here. Fiber optic, they've got it right down to the bottom of the street. It should be able to get it up here. We're only, the way they do the numbers, I know we're only 191 feet from the end of the road. So we're literally under 200 feet from glass. And so that should work, that we should be able to get that here. And then I would be all set. I could do any kind of show I want from up here, because I am moving up here in the next few years. So let's see here. Yeah, Starlink would work, but it would not be perfect. The plan I'm looking at with my van when I build it, they make a system right now that takes a SIM card from each of the 3 systems, and you can hook up Starlink to it, and it shares everything. And so that way my computer would have direct wired access to the system. The system would have 4 separate internet connections to pull from. And then I would have the ability to then share that Wi-Fi with private or public, whoever needs it, whatever. So that's the plan once I get going with that. The whole idea is that with 5G on 3 different services and Starlink all connected into one hub, and then basically data sharing across all 4 systems, that should allow me to be able to do all the different things I need to do and be mobile all the time. making contact with KE8UDW. He is in Michigan. He's a Michigander. Yeah, I probably could. The main thing, you guys know when I do my stream, it's intensive. A lot of times we could have 9 screens playing at one time. We normally have me, the big screen, and then 4 smaller screens. And that takes a lot of bandwidth. My camera doesn't. And if I show other cameras I have locally, those don't. But if I'm bringing something down to play it for you, I have to bring my internal bandwidth is fine, but I need the bandwidth to bring in that video. So if I'm showing you 4 videos plus my image plus the radar, that's probably okay, but it's still going to be the equivalent of watching 4 simultaneous videos. That still has to be in there. Then you got the upstream. So, yeah. An Arkansasier. An ice cream. I don't have any ice cream sandwiches. I do buy a box of ice cream sandwiches sometimes, but when I'm on vacation, I like something a little nicer. I got banana pudding in there, but I don't think I'm going to have any other night. I bought this banana pudding at Walmart, and it's been so good. I've been enjoying the shit out of it. I'm hoping my Walmart at home doesn't have it. I don't need a new vise. That's a big moth. My God. This moth is like this big. Not this one. Get out of here, hoser. He's laying right there by the door. He's this freaking big. And it's not a butterfly, it's a moth. He kind of curled up there. Yeah, there's a big moths up here. Beautiful white fuzzy moths, black moths with white designs on them, big brown moths, beautiful moths. You wouldn't think about it. You think about butterflies, but these are moths. They're there in the morning on the door. And when I come out, I've got a little light on my shed out there. I'll go out there and look, and there'll be all kinds of these left on the shed in the morning. And they stay there till the sun starts to come up, and then they go find a dry spot somewhere. But just beautiful moths up here. Down in Florida, we get these brown moths, and that's about it. There's just nothing special about them. There you go. I decided not to get my extra because you don't really need it anymore. I can do everything an extra can do. There's just little teeny swaths of bandwidth. I'm not giving them $35 for it. I'm perfectly happy with a general license. I do everything I want to do. And let me tell you, if there's somebody out there that goes in contests or works POTA in an extra portion of the band, they're a pompous prick anyway, and I don't want to talk to them. So I don't mind extras, but when people like go to extra channels during contests and stuff, that upsets me, but whatever. I think the whole three-tier program is ignorant. It's better than it was with a 5-tier or the 7-tier program before that. But I just don't believe in it. I think it's stupid. Telling me that I have to go learn more stuff in order to use this little swath of bandwidth that nobody wants to use anyway, it doesn't make any sense. So it's cool. Back in the day, it meant something. Today, I don't think it means as much, but it's good. It's good to have. And it's definitely something to boast about. Not easy to get. Even if you're just memorizing the questions, it's not easy to get. And back when you got it, it was a bitch. So lots of respect and kudos. I've decided not to bother with it today in the current climate. Um, yeah. Well, and you know what? You don't want my feelings on the code. I was an emergency manager, firefighter. I tried to get I took that code test 6 times. I couldn't do it. I'm dyslexic. And that code had kept me out of ham radio most of my life. And for that, I hate CW. I won't have anything to do with it. I don't want it. It's an old antiquated mode. And I physically am unable to do it because of a handicap, because of an issue that I have. And I believe that code requirement had kept so many good people out of radio for so long that I think it's probably, other than the ARRL, which is terrible and disgusting, I think that code requirement over the years has damaged ham radio more than just about anything else. It's terrible. People today still not hams because of that stupid requirement from years ago. If you got it, that's great. More power to you. I hope you know how to talk CW. That's great. Don't expect to talk to me on it. I can't stand it. Yeah. I know somebody here that has an advanced at home down in Fort Myers, and he's keeping it because you can never get an advanced again. And the only people that have advanced licenses are people that got advanced licenses back when they had them, and then they kept them. They get just about all the privileges that extra gets. It's just a little swaths of bandwidth. It's really dumb. I don't know why the FCC ever did it. I really don't. No, I'm sure there probably is. Um, no, Victor, I enjoy voice. I enjoy phone. That's what I like. I prefer phone. However, there's nobody to talk to. I've been told for 6 or 7 years since I got my license, just dial to an open frequency and start calling CQ. That's just dumb. It doesn't work. I've never been able to just call out into the blind and get somebody to talk to. Number two, if you do find somebody to talk to, what do you say? Nobody seems to ever know what you're supposed to say. That's why I find POTA to be so awesome, because on POTA, I know where they're at and I don't need to worry about what to say. I know what to say. And so I think things like POTA are really doing good for ham radio right now, because they allow people to get in contact with each other without just calling blindly on an open frequency. Um, why there's no HF calling frequencies, I don't know. We should every round number should be a calling frequency or something. There needs to be some way for people to find each other on HF. Um, yes, I have a very strong opinion about the ARRL. Yeah, the ARRL is what's wrong with ham radio. It's the number one problem in ham radio right now. Bunch of self-righteous pricks that don't do anything to help anybody. You know, they're paying their CFO this year $360,000 plus leave plus benefits package. So this man's making 400 grand and you're paying dues. And they just raised your dues $9 a year and took away the printed magazine. So you talk about an agency or an organization in decline. The ARRL is that organization that's in a major decline right now. And why? Because they failed to innovate. They just did a thing a while back about how they just released NTS 2.0. Have you guys heard this? The National Traffic System, which is basically a program that's been obsolete for 60 years. They have reinvented it. They remade it. And you know what they did? They spent $200,000 remaking the NTS 2.0. Do you know what they did? They created an internet portal where you can receive your radiogram and you can send it down the line, not on HF, not on VHF or UHF, not on digital modes. No, over the internet. Yeah, that's right. You go on and you type the message. Now, this is revolutionary. I want you to think about this. The ARRL funked this up themselves, them and their $200,000 consulting agency that they bought came up with the idea, hey, we'll take the NTS message, right? This is the way they used to do it years ago. And that message would be passed down the line via radio all the way across the country. Problem is, there's not enough people doing it anymore because it's 60 years outdated. There's nobody doing it now that even remembers when we needed to do it. So what ends up happening is they reinvent the thing. It's 2.0. Now you get the message. Someone calls in, I've got a message. ARRL, message 12, stop, blah, 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 blah. And they give the message over the radio to the other guy. Now, instead of trying to find a way to get that message across to Oregon via radio, now what they do is they type it into a computer program, and the computer program forwards the message to an operator near where the operator is that actually is receiving the message. And then that operator can then receive his message via the radio. They spent $200,000 in 18 months, and they developed effing email. They invented email. Congrats. You invented email. Their logbook of the world that was down for months is running on an antiquated system. They say they've upgraded it, but they didn't provide me proof or told us how. And it's still a big, huge mess with a terrible user interface and everything else. Hey, Valkyrie. Yeah, Kevin, I'm glad you guys are all here tonight. Thank you for being here. Yeah, but the bottom line is everything the ARRL touches turns to shit. They're not doing any schools anymore. They're not doing any community outreach. The group, my ARRL affiliated group in Fort Myers, does nothing. They don't do anything. They don't even like when the media shows up at field day. I've never seen anything like it. I was actually told by this group 2 different years. I'm like, I work for the media. Do you want me to get the media there? I can have the media there doing their morning show hits all morning. I can do it. Friends with the guy running the morning show. If you want to. No, we don't want the media here. It would just be a pain in the ass. That's the kind of people we're dealing with. And the AR, you know, I went to 3 Hamfests. At 2 of them, they had already packed up and left by the time I found their booth. In the 3rd one, I found their booth. It was this big oversized booth, and there was people in there talking to people. And the joke was that the girls they had in there talking to people about ham radio didn't know the first thing about ham radio. They were like literally like the guy's kids or something. It was stupid. I stood right in front. You can go back and watch it. I stood right in front of the ARRL thing and did a 10-minute stand-up about how shitty they were. It was hilarious. I love tailgating at Hamfests. Yep. Okay. Oh, I know Daniels Parkway. That's like the worst road in the county right now to have to drive down. Oh my God. And I know the bell tower shops. Absolutely. Been there for a long time. They built those when I was in high school. Yeah. Um, yes. Well, you know what it is? There's two things. Number one, I'm very opinionated. I see something, I research it, I check it out, I talk to people, I form an opinion, and I'm bitchy about it. And that's number one. I think that it's important to be opinionated because people who aren't opinionated never changed anything in the world. It's the squeaky wheel that gets the grease. And so I squeak and squeak like a mother. I do it whack, 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 squeak, squeak, squeak all the time. Um, yes, we're going to be doing some guests, including Old Man Builds and others. It's going to be fun. Um, yep. And the second reason I really believe a lot of it with me is just the fact that I've had enough and I'll just say whatever. I don't care anymore. If I got the shits, I tell you, I got the shits today. I don't feel good. I don't care anymore. You know, when I first went on the radio 15 years ago on local radio, I was embarrassed to even get on the air. And the host called me on. He goes, I got a fill in producer this morning. He's one of our weekend producers. Hey, Ian, how's it going today? And I'm like, hi. You know, I was like scared to talk on the air, and I can remember the first time that, I'm literally on the air and I just start spewing about stuff. And now I literally will talk about anything on the air. I don't care. I don't give a shit anymore. There's very few things that are private with me. I don't care. It's just not that big a deal. Nobody gives a shit. Um, yeah, we're going to talk 0 point energy coming up. I definitely want to talk about that. We'll set that up. I have Zoom, a paid account, and we will set it up to where we will do more interviews with people on Zoom. I think that would be wonderful. Um, yeah. All right, that's all good. Let's see what else is going on. I've been on an hour and a half now. It looks like I had a hard time getting on tonight. I had like 3 false starts. I hate doing it on the phone. But yeah, to finish what I was saying about the ARRL, the best thing that could happen to amateur radio is for the ARRL to fold up. It truly is. It truly is. I don't even know what they do anymore. What are they spending the $14 million they get on? Oh, that's right. The CEO makes almost $400,000 a year. $400,000 a year to be the CEO of the American Radio Relay League, which was supposed to be a volunteer organization run from the heart, about the hobby, by the hobby, for the hobby. And it's turned into a moneymaker for some people. It's turned into a boon for some people. Jesus. And all these hams, they paying the money because the ARRL puts out the same flyer every year. Without your donations and your support, we're going to lose all our bandwidth. That's horseshit. They don't do anything to fight for our bandwidth, and they have it for over 15 years. The ARRL got so wrapped up in enforcing decency standards and then the government's just like, we're not doing that no more. It's against the Constitution. And it just kind of left them high and dry out there. And then when you take the fact that the logbook of the world's a complete disaster, when you look at the NTS as a complete disaster, Everything they do, their outreach to schools, complete disaster. They got all this time and money that they spend on these affiliate groups, and the affiliate groups are useless. We have no child outreach at all. Nothing in the colleges, nothing in the high schools, nothing in the middle schools. They don't even have a dialogue with our school board going on. I mean, we've got to get this hobby back in front of the younger people. We just can't do it anymore. The ARRL used to spearhead this stuff. They used to help people build these systems. And the last guy doing it left like 2 years ago. There's nobody doing it in Southwest Florida right now. Nobody going to classrooms. Nobody going to Boy Scout meetings. And when I offered to do all this stuff, I was told I was not needed. Because I am a trained fire service instructor. I taught guys how to survive in fires. I taught guys how to drive emergency vehicles. I taught guys how to treat the wounded. I taught guys how to save lives with the external defibrillator and CPR. And so I offered my talent as a training officer, as a instructor, as an educator. They couldn't give a shit. The only thing they hate worse than someone that's willing to do something they're not is someone that's smarter than them that's willing to do something that they're not. It drove me nuts trying to get these people to do anything with me. I wanted to do stuff for the hobby. I tried to join the Aries team. I went to all the meetings. Every meeting was the same blue screen slideshow. It was the same 23 slides. Here's how we send a message. Here's how we do it. Here's what channels we do it on. I know all this, okay? And the Aries group in town, they gave me a list of all the classes I need to become a level 3 because I wanted to be a level 3 communicator, right? When I decide I'm going to do something, I do it. I only have one speed, and that's balls to the wall, okay? And so I went in there and I took the ARRL 101, the ARRL 016 course. I took all 14, including the 2 electives, FEMA courses, and I took Skywarn. And I did it all in 60 days. And then I went back in there with my task book done. I had affidavits signed for all the different things you were supposed to do. I had all the certificates included. I had everything in this book. And I handed it to the Aries guy. And he looked through it and he goes, "You took all the classes?" I said, "Yeah." He goes, "Nobody's ever done that before." I work a full-time and 3 part-time jobs and I got it done. Nobody's done it before. You know what I found out? 6 months goes by. They never return my task book. And every month I ask them, "Where's my task book?" "Oh, I left it at home." "Where's my task book?" "Oh, I got to wait for something to get signed." "Where's my task book?" "Oh, we're doing it." "Where's my task book?" "Oh, it's in Peoria." And I'm like, what's going on? Finally, after 6 months, I walked in there and he hands me, I bang him up and hands me my task book. They only signed it off to level 1. And I said, "What's this?" "Everything's done. Everything in here's done. It should be signed off to level 3. Every single thing's done." He says, "We don't sign people off for that. You haven't been here long enough." I'm like, there is no time requirement. I've already met all the requirements. Come to find out, the guy running the group was only a level 1. He had never bothered to take any of the classes. Yeah. And so I went and did all that, and all it ended up doing was making them all hate me because I was the overachiever. And they don't like these curmudgeons, all with their little ego trip going. The last thing they want is a whippersnapper, even an old one like me. The last thing they want is someone that comes in and actually does the work, takes the time, and makes it happen. And that's me. And they couldn't handle it. And so the very next meeting I went in and I asked to speak to them about the task book. They wouldn't speak to me about it. They're like, there's nothing we can do about it. And I tried to ask questions like, who do I go see? Can I contact the ARRL to get this signed off? The truth is, they didn't want me to sign it off, because if they got my book signed off for me, I would then have higher credentialing than anyone else on the team. There's 25 of them standing in that EOC, and none of them are level 3. So because of that, they would obstruct me in every way to prevent me from getting my level 3, because then I would be the one they would call. I would be the one that would get to go. I would be the one that, and they're not going to tolerate it. So I quit. I told them, I said, I won't be back. Just take me off. I'm done. I said, this isn't for me. You guys, you got your own thing going on here, apparently, and you don't want me, you know? So now I'm sitting on everything I need to be a level 3 ARRL communicator, and still to this day cannot get someone to sign off my task book. It is absolutely ridiculous. I call the county north of us. They no longer get along with the EOC, and they're pretty much disbanded. I contact the people south of me, which is way south of me. They're not really doing much. They're not really accepting new members. The bottom line is the Aries is something that's going to be seeing a sunset eventually. You know, the truth is, the whole idea of the Aries group to begin with is to be there for your county, so that you can set up an operation at a shelter or whatever. And if the cops or the firemen or the shelter operators or the county workers need to get a message back to headquarters, they come see you. That's antiquated. We took Category 5, Ian, struck Fort Myers directly. The entire public safety communication system never failed. Stayed up completely. All 3 cell services stayed up completely, just about completely. They lost some towers down by the water, but you were still able to get, you were still able to get out if you needed to. And then you've got the amateur radio. They all got scared and left. There was nobody here to answer the radio during the emergency. So once again, it was a joke. It was a joke. Everything stayed up, so we didn't need what used to be the secondary backup has now become the tertiary backup, and it's now becoming Captain Dunzel. We don't even need it anymore. And that's the bottom line. In most places, we don't even need it anymore. So it's a waste of time. It's a shame. Yes, I certainly don't ever buy the narrative, do I? You know why? Everything humans touch is corrupt. Everything. And if you go into everything knowing that, you're a lot smarter. You're a lot more ahead of the curve. And that's the way I've become. I learned from 20 years in public safety. I was a firefighter, a cop, a medic. I responded to some of the worst storms and accidents that you could ever imagine. Plane crashes, Hurricane Andrew. And then I got out of public safety, and I did 2 or 3 years here and 2 or 3 years here, and ended up in media. And now I've worked in media for 15 years. And what I've found, believe it or not, is that everywhere I look, there's corruption. Everywhere I look, there's corruption. there's really nowhere you can look and not find it, because humans are corrupt. Anytime you get three humans together, there's corruption begins. And so if I go into everything, I research everything, I talk about everything I do, everything I like, everything I dislike, it's all approached from the standpoint of, this is corrupt. Is it still worth doing? And I do the same thing. Yes, I'm a libertarian. I'm not a Republican. I'm a libertarian. I vote Republican. I'm registered Republican. I'm a libertarian. I believe that government is the problem. And since government is absolute corruption, absolutely, there's nothing they can do to help your life. I want you to think about, when's the last time the government did something that helped you? The roads are backed up every day because the government can't keep up with use. You go wait for 4 hours at the tax collector to pay your taxes to the government. Why? Because they're not held accountable. They're the government. They're corrupt. Cops misbehaving now. This is the thing. I've always supported law enforcement. I was a cop for 8 years. And I find that the cops are behaving badly almost as much as the rest of us now. And I just lose faith in everything. I know that everything's corrupt, and I just look for how. Got big organizations out there. Big organizations like, what is it? The Southern Poverty Law Center. The Southern Poverty Law Center started 55 years ago by some black folks that started it for all the right reasons. At the time, we were still dealing with some racism. We were still dealing with discrimination. We were still dealing with hiring issues. We were still dealing with housing issues. And at the time, the Southern Poverty Law Center helped. They got in there and they fought the fights for the good people. But over the years, they've become more corrupt than the government itself. They just arrested a bunch of people at the Southern Poverty Law Center today, and they've charged the group with all kinds of misdeeds. Do you want to know what they caught them doing? For those of you who haven't read this yet, brace yourselves. This black group, it was founded by black people, membered by black people, paid for by black people, was caught paying $1 million to the Ku Klux Klan. Why? To sow discontent. So in other words, they would pay for the shit to happen, and then they would pay to fight against the shit happening. That's as big as corruption gets right there. It don't get any bigger than that. They were paying the Ku Klux Klan to go out and mistreat their own people so that they could turn around and complain about it and broadcast about it and use it as an example of how they're still oppressed, and use it as an example of how racism still is alive and well in this country with all the honkies. And the truth is, there couldn't be further from the truth right now. But they don't want you to believe that. They don't want you to believe that the days of racism in the streets is over. It is. In fact, it slipped the other way a little bit when it comes to hiring and stuff like that. Southern Poverty Law Center, one of the biggest victim rights advocates for black folks, was caught paying $1 million to the Ku Klux Klan to go out and sow discontent so that they could then turn around and fight against the very discontent that they paid to occur. That's corruption, ladies and gentlemen. That's the root of evil right there. All they cared about was their organization getting what they want. All they cared about was, the advancements for their race. It didn't matter how they got those advancements. So they paid the Ku Klux Klan to go out and create problems that they could then try to fix. Jesus. What are we doing? You're right, Valkyrie. If they were successful, and I submit that racism today is isolated. It works in every direction as well. Hispanic people sometimes don't like black people. Black people sometimes don't like white people. White people. But I don't see any single group now being singled out like it was before. I just don't. You can go, I don't even want to get into this, but you can find racism any direction, anywhere. But is it systemic and widespread like it used to be? Absolutely not. And the proof is in the pudding. You know what the proof is to me? I'll tell you, the proof is the fact that these people had to go pay the Ku Klux Klan to go out and hurt people in order for them to be able to fight against that hurting. They were out creating their own business because business is not good. You're right. It's a victim mindset. You guys are all correct. It is not systemic. I worked for the government. I worked for the government 25 and 30 years ago, ladies and gentlemen. I was a local firefighter. I was a local cop. All right. I was in emergency management. And now I work for the media. I don't see it. We had no systemic racism. I never once saw one of my guys treat a black person any differently than he treated a white person. Law enforcement, it gets a little gray with the, well, they pulled us over because we were black. I still think some of that goes on today, but it's not systemic. It's selective. It's certain cops with certain hangups. I'm not going to sit here and say it doesn't exist. It does exist. We get videos on YouTube all the time of cops pulling people over just because they're a white person in a black neighborhood or a black person in a white neighborhood after 10 o'clock at night. It works both ways. But systemic, no. I don't see any real systemic racism, to be honest. We treated it. I was a cop 30 years ago. We treated everybody the same. I never did anything because of the person's color. I can honestly say that. It didn't enter my mind. If they broke the law and it was egregious, they went to jail. If they broke the law and it was minor, we tried to work something out. I kept the warning book on top and the ticket book inside of the clipboard because I didn't write tickets. I didn't feel like taking people's dinner from their family was a way to teach them to slow down. I wasn't your conventional cop. Let me just put it that way. I actually was a firefighter full-time and a cop part-time. And I went under the assumption that we were supposed to be helping. Ooh, that was weird. Anyway, I'll do another podcast if someone wants me to come on. Yeah, we just have to work out how we're going to do it. Send me an email, ko4efs at gmail. That is the crux of the problem, is that all we're doing now is we're producing victims. That's literally what we're doing now. Every day we just produce more and more victims. I've been sitting here working this while we were on the air, and I've got it in manual mode, but I've got it in assisted mode where all I have to do is one click and then it follows through and finishes it out. I don't use auto mode much because it's kind of defeating the purpose. You know, if the radio and the computer do all the work and I'm not even looking at it, I think that's kind of cheating. So I don't use the full auto. I do use the auto assist mode where once I establish the contact, the computer finishes it for me. I don't think that's a bad thing. Anyway, so let's see where we're at now. Let me refresh this and see where we're at on this. Did I get any more for that award here? Wow, 195. So I am literally 55 contacts away. I'll have this by tomorrow night. I'll have my 250 year award with QRZ. It requires 250 contacts between the first of the year and July 4th, I think. And you can get the award for each band, mixed, phone. There's you can get a bunch of citations under the award, basically. I'm looking at mixed, but I'll be able to get the digital as well. I'm 174 on digital as well. So I'll get it with the digital. I'll get the mixed, and then underneath it will say additional. It'll say digital. And then if you get 250 phone contacts, you'll also get the phone, whatever you want to call it, the enhancement on there. All right. Anyway, I'm at 70% on that one. Like I said, I think I'm going to get this one by tomorrow night. And that's the QRZ 250th anniversary of the United States Award. Let me see. I might need to do another update here. I'm an XML data subscriber. And for those that don't know what that is, I pay $35 a year, not a month, a year, to QRZ. And they deal with Logbook of the World. See, Logbook of the World, the ARRL Logbook of the World, is such a horrible thing to deal with that I pay somebody else to deal with it for me. That's correct. QRZ will deal with it for you. You pay them the $35, and then they tell you exactly what to do. You get this key, you put it here, you put this key here, and you're done. And then QRZ takes care of making sure my log files get updated. So what I'm going to do now is export to Logbook of the World. This is something that makes it really easy, because now I don't have to worry about certificate files and all the stupid shit. Logbook of the World is so unuser friendly. This allows me to just send everything over there in one click. It's done. Also, with Grid Tracker, I can send it directly to Logbook of the World. I can send it directly to QRZ, directly to Logbook of the Old Man, directly to QRZ Net, whatever that other one is. There's about 6 more, HRD, which I don't recommend using. There is a lot of these different programs that one Grid Tracker program will send it out to everybody all at once. All right, so I just successfully sent 79 records to Logbook of the World. And then once that uploads again, now I'm going to go and import from Logbook of the World. So now what I did was I sent all my new ones up. Now I'm pulling down a complete copy that will then verify all of my stuff in QRZ. So that way everything matches. And it says that I got 2 more confirmations into QRZ. So there we go. Logbook of the World takes about 6 or 8 hours to process. I don't know why. It's because it's running on a Commodore 64 in a closet somewhere. But when it does update, I'll get some more confirmations as well. So now let's go back to awards and let's check that award again now that I've got my confirmations run both ways and see if that helped. Yes, now I'm at 196. So I did get 1 more out of it. So that brings me up to 196. And so that is 54 that I need now. So I'm going to keep working on that probably tomorrow night. I'll get that at some point while we're on the air tomorrow night. We'll see how it goes. All right. Does anybody have anything else? I'll check the chat room. I've been on 2 hours now, and I'm getting pretty tired. I'm tired. I think I'm going to go home now. Incognita, I have never considered moving to another country. Ever. I love this country. Matter of fact, there's nothing. I would never move to another country. I can't think of another country that I would want to move to. What country would you move to? There's so many countries moving further and further to the left. Most of Europe's being taken over by the Muslims. Of course, so is Minnesota and the Somalis. Canada has just been taken over by the douchebag liberals. It's too hot in Mexico. I don't know what country would you move to, because I don't know of any country on this earth that I would rather live in. Oh, I completely agree. I think Trump's fixing a lot of it now. And will he be a completist? No, there's no way to fix it all. You just have to take what you can do, fix what you can fix. God grant me to the serenity. Say it every day. Because that prayer literally is that's kind of the direction of life right there. You have to know, look, can I change this? If so, I'm going to try. Or I can't change it. There's no way. And in that case, I'll pass and I'll use my energy somewhere else. It's the wisdom to know the difference that's the hard part. And a lot of times that wisdom comes too late. I fight the good fight with politics because I love this country. And I hate what the left is doing to it. I hate the fact that the left likes all the bad guys. They love all the evil guys, all the bad guys, and they hate all the good guys. It's just disgusting. And so I fight the good fight politically. I do it on terrestrial radio and I do it on YouTube. I will do that, Dispatch. I know it's difficult. Just so you guys know, my normal shows, I have 5 minutes of music coming in and 10 minutes of music going out on average. And that is there so that my chat room can gather in at the beginning and so that they can say goodnight at the end. When I'm not able to do that, like right now, I'm not able to play music for you right now or any of that. So I will try to do that. I'll leave it on for a few minutes so you guys can say goodnight. The left made me right. I agree. The left makes it easy to me to be right. I look at the left and I don't see anything redeeming. They always support the bad guy. They're pro-Taliban, pro-Hamas, pro-Ayatollah. They're pro-Venezuelan dictator. They're pro-drugs. They're pro-crime. They're anti-cop. They're anti-law and order. They're pro-people breaking into this country. They're anti-us getting rid of them. They're pro-corruption. They fight. Every time Donald Trump tries to get rid of corruption, they fight it. Every time Donald Trump tries to get rid of extra spending, they fight it. They're literally the bad guys every time. They never have the high ground. Not morally, not practically, not politically, and certainly not logically. I would hate to be on the left. Look at the stupid fights you got to fight. No, a boy can be a girl. Seriously. No, seriously. So what's a girl? I don't know what a girl is, but they can be a boy too. I mean, I'm glad I don't have those arguments to have to try to make. And you're going to think I'm mean for this. I don't believe in innocence due to insanity. I don't believe in it. You committed the crime. You're insane. That doesn't mean you're innocent of committing the crime. I'm sorry. I have a real hard time with this one because I believe that you're guilty because of insanity. You are insane. It's you that did it. By saying I'm innocent because of my own insanity, you're passing the buck to yourself. It doesn't even make sense. Unless you're the crazy one that don't want to spend the rest of your life in jail, and then it makes great sense. No, I'm sorry. I have a hard time with innocent because of insanity. I think that the insanity might have made you do it, but you still did it. It's still you that did it. It's your brain. It's your soul. It's your choice. Yes, I think we should get out of NATO, and I also think we should get out of the UN. Matter of fact, I would give them a 6-month eviction notice to get the F off our soil. That whole building. You can take it or you can leave it, but you're leaving. Yeah. You can have the building if you can figure out how to take it. Get out. These countries routinely don't pay their share. These countries routinely stand against what seems like common sense on so many things. The UN has become useless. And NATO has become useless. Another organization that we pay more than all the other members pay in combined. And it's for Europe. It's not even for us. Well, that's exactly, Matt. That's exactly what they're trying to do, is overthrow capitalism. They don't like capitalism. Because you know why? In capitalism, if you're a loser, you fail. In capitalism, if you're a winner, you win. You do well. And if you look at all these people that hate capitalism, they've got one thing in common. They're all losers. They're all losers that couldn't make it on their own. They couldn't run a lawn service with 2 employees. These are the same people. They can't hold down a regular job. They can't show up at work every day. The problem is that they're lazy. They don't want to work. And so they choose a life like socialism where everything's done for them. Decisions are made for them. They're made to go to work. And it seems like a great idea to them. Anybody that's successful immediately would turn against communism. The one thing all of these commies have in common is they're stupid. Look at them. Go look at that Caitlyn chick. I like her. Go look at her. She goes to all these rallies. There's 2 or 3 other people doing it too. They go to all these rallies and they ask them simple questions. Name one thing that you believe Donald Trump has done that's bad for this country. They never can come up with anything. It's always, he's a pedophile, which that one really gets me because we all know the situation there. It's amazing to me that the left is just, they're literally off their rocker. Their positioning is the party of crazy, the party of not yes or no, but the party of they're literally the party of crazy. What are they going to do next? And they also love their losers. Their heir apparent right now is Gavin Douche Newsom, the man who literally drove a city into the side of a cliff, and then drove a state into the side of a cliff with $100 billion in debt. And now he wants to be the president. And 19% of those ignorant liberals believe that he's the man for the job. This would make him a 3-time loser. Because every time he gets elected to office, he F's up everything. It's kind of crazy. Yep. Well, and that's what always happens with communism. It fails because they run out of other people's money. Communism never drives invention. It never drives big business. It never drives commerce. It never drives people to achieve and to be better. It never drives innovation. It never drives any of these things. All it does is it's an equal opportunity misery provider. That's exactly what it is. Everybody suffers. It's equal. It's common. Yeah, California is doomed, and I'm fine with that. If you're in California, get out of there. To quote Star Trek 3, get out of there. Uh, you're running out of time. uh, yes, I agree, Incog. I absolutely agree with that. I absolutely agree with that. Okay, guys, I'm over 2 hours. I'm going to go. I'm tired. I'm really hurting. And the bugs are bad out here tonight. I'm going to shut this down. I still got to bring all this stuff inside, lock up, and all that. So I'm going to take care of that. Tomorrow night's Friday night. I've got my shows tomorrow night, but I should be able to get all that done before I come on. And I'm hoping to come on tomorrow, normal time, 9 o'clock, and we'll do a regular 2 hour show. And then again on Saturday night. And then Sunday night will be a hotel room in Tallahassee. Monday night, we'll be back with Mama Bleep in the main studio. And that's basically how all that's going to work. We've got some thrifting we're going to do tomorrow. We got rain moving in on Friday. We're going to go do the two big flea markets on Fridays. We've got Deckers on one side of the road and whatever they call the other one on Hobbies or something on the other side of the road. There's two big, huge flea markets right near Murphy, North Carolina. And I come right out of my house here. I go 6 miles and I'm there. It's this huge flea market on both sides of the road. The one whole side burned down about 4 years ago, and they built it back even better. And it got rid of a lot of that junk that had been in there for so long. There was this Stargate series of DVDs I wish I would have bought because I think they burned down in the fire. I wish I would have bought those. A little bit of regret there. It was the complete 10 season series, but he wanted $100 for it. But it was literally all 10 seasons. It was like 6 CDs for each season. I'm like, damn, I've never seen the full 10 seasons of SG1. That was pretty good. And then it burned down like a month later. I'm like, I bet those CDs burned up. Kind of made me sad. Anyway, what time do I plan on starting Friday? I don't have any set time for tomorrow. It'll probably be 9 p.m. I try to come on about 9 every night just to give you guys a target. I love flea markets. I'm a big Habitat for Humanity. I used to be a big Goodwill guy. Goodwill's just gotten too corporate. Oh wow, does he really? See, that's cool. See, I didn't even I wouldn't even know they had that, but I saw it in this old part of this old flea market that had been around forever. They would dust all over them. They were up there, and I've looked at them a couple times, and I kept wanting to buy them. And then, like I said, the place burned down. So it's kind of one of those like not so. It's kind of a sad memory because it's like I really wanted those and I didn't buy them, but it was $100, and I don't need physical media. The reason we have physical media up here is because we don't have internet up here. But in a few years, that will be rectified. I could get it now if I was living up here. They got fiber right at the bottom of the street down there, so I could get it if I need it, but I can't pay for it right now. I'm not using it all the time. But once I get that, I won't need all this physical media anymore. So I'm not trying to collect much more in the way of physical media. Um, that's really cool. Yeah, Victor, I've heard of some of those real big flea markets. We have flea masters in Fort Myers. And if Flea Masters is huge. They're two big, huge buildings. Um, I'm going to say probably 300 or 400 vendors. And during the season, during the winter, they're at 90 to 100% every weekend. And then during the summer, it's obviously thinned down. But they do really good there. It's called Flea Masters. And then down in Collier, we got Flamingo Island Flea Market. That's another pretty big one. Um, but yeah, I love flea markets. Yeah, I found one today. It was a NASA series. It's 5 DVDs. It covered everything all the way up through the Challenger disaster, all the way back to the all the stuff when we first started going to space. And it was documentaries, all NASA produced documentaries. I kind of wanted to buy it, but it was again, I'm just trying not to buy any more physical media. I've got a whole wall of DVDs here that will eventually go back to the secondhand store once once we're good here with the internet. Yeah. We have a lot of Spanish folks down in Fort Myers, and I agree that the language barrier is a bit of pain in the ass. I'll admit that. I don't speak any Spanish. They don't speak any English. I get it. It sucks. But I will tell you something. When it comes to family and when it comes to work ethic, Hispanics, Mexicans specifically, kick our ass every day of the week. They've got a very good work ethic, and they've got a family bond that is much stronger than most white families have. And so for those two things, I absolutely respect the shit out of those people. I really do. I've got Hispanic friends, and I've been to their get-togethers with their family. I'm like, why don't we do shit like this? You know? I mean, I'm like, what are we doing? This is so amazing. And they really care. The families all care about each other, and extended families and all this. And I'm just like, man, they know what they're doing. They've got it going on. So lots of respect for the Hispanic folks. Like I said, I'll say the good and the bad. The bad is the language barrier sucks. Okay. But the good news is they have a great work ethic, and they're good people, and they have very strong family values. And I think that those are very good things to have. All right. So it's a two-edged sword with the Hispanics, in my opinion. I'm just being honest. See, I'm not racist. I just say it exactly how it is. All right. I like those folks. I work with them. They work hard. Um, yeah, and they show up every day, which is more than the white people do. I got to tell you something. Um, my oil change guy closing his business. He sold it. I asked him why. He says, no one wants to show up for work. Day after day, I got a staff of 7 or 8 or 9 people, and I can't get two of them to show up for work consistently. He says, I fire them, I hire new ones. It don't matter. He says, it's just ridiculous. And I've been hearing this from everybody that it's impossible to get people to show up for work. And then people start hiring Hispanic folks. They show up early every day, early every day. And so It's worth it for some of these guys to learn a little Spanish and just start hiring Spanish folks. I don't blame them. I would too, if they're going to show up for work. I think they've got good morals too. Yes, absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, I mean, it's real easy. Just all those Mexicans. It's real easy to be negative and bitchy. Think about it. Search yourself. They're not bad folks. It's just a language problem. That's all. Um, Now, if they're coming here illegally, I have issues with that. You know that. I want them all deported. Everyone that's not legal. But everyone that came here legally, I'm glad to have them. They're welcome. Yep. Yeah, that's my and it's not CG either. That's a real flag. We've had that flag for years. The first thing I do when I arrive is I unlock the door, I go in, and there's 2 or 3 things I do. I flip the switches on, I do this, and I grab that flag and I walk back outside and put it in. It stays there. I'll take it down on Saturday when it starts raining, but it stays there otherwise, unless the weather's inclement. And there's even a little light that shines on it and everything. I don't. Yeah, it means a lot to me. I fly one at home on occasions, just because of the situation. If you fly a flag every day in Florida, it lasts about 6 months. And my yard is full of antennas and shit anyway. But up here, it's important to me. Um, it's important to me everywhere, but it's really important to me up here. I fly this thing all the time. Um, it's actually right on the corner of my deck, hanging right over the driveway's over here, the road's over there. So it's basically on the most predominant corner of the house. And it will go straight out or on an angle, but I like it on the angle better, especially when I'm broadcasting, because you can see it better. Um, yeah, I mean, I wish they could pick up the language better, but like us, they're not all really smart. They're not all, you know what I'm saying? We got white folks that learn 5 languages. I only know one. And if I moved to Mexico, I would not be able to pick up another language. I'm too old. So I'm not mad at them over it, because I would have the same problem. I get it. I understand. Language is a generational thing. They come here, many of the adults that come here never do learn fluent English, but their kids do. And I don't know how many times, I know you guys have all dealt with this, where mom and dad and the 2 kids walk up and you end up talking to the oldest kid. You deal with the 14-year-old. They're buying a car and you're dealing with the 14-year-old. All right, guys, I'm going to let you go. We're down to like 13 people in here or something. All right, I'm going to let you guys go. Have a good one out there, and I'll see you tomorrow. I'll leave this on for 5 minutes so you guys can say goodnight. But I am going to be saying goodnight. And while I'm letting this run for a little while, I'm going to start shutting down and locking up. So I'll be back here in a few minutes. But you guys have a good night out there. Be safe tomorrow. I'll see you back here tomorrow night, 9 o'clock, for the Sights and Sounds of Earth, right here on Starship Adventures. And remember, Sunday night we'll be live in Tallahassee. Monday night we'll be back in the studio with a full multi-screen show. So stay with us. Things will be getting better. I'll see you guys later. My name's Ian. This is Starship Adventures, the Sights and Sounds of Earth. And we'll see you next time, live from Blairsville, Georgia. Have a good night, everybody. Oops, I almost hit end again. I'm going to give you guys some time. Say good night to everybody. We'll talk to you later. Okay. Okay, guys. I'll see you guys later. Have a good night, everybody. Sweet dreams. See you tomorrow night. KO4 EFS QSY. Clear frequency.